have your fear, which might become reality. And you have Godzilla, which is reality.
I'm sick of Godzilla.
Wake up, everyone!
There are two things you don't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is Godzilla.
We're safe here. No human being can understand that. The monsters on Monster Island can understand it.
Whether he returns or not, or is never again seen by human eyes, the things he has taught us remain.
Monster Island is back. We did it again. We skipped another week, I think. I don't know what day it is. I don't do anything but podcasts now. I just got done recording another podcast, but we're back. It's been a very eventful 3 weeks, I think, since we've been here. 2 weeks. I don't know how long.
It all runs together.
My wonderful co-host, Jay Key, had a birthday. Happy
Yay!
birthday, Jay.
Hey, 1 foot in the grave. I'm the big 4-0 now. So yeah. So download as many podcasts of us as you can, because you don't know how much longer I have. I mean, I am just one step away from having to buy some Depends.
Right on. Well, I'm glad we're here, man. I'm glad we're back. I'm excited to do this episode. I know this is going to be like I don't want to bury the lead too much. I know this is going to be a little bit of a weird episode. Maybe not quite what our listeners, or maybe half our dude. I feel like we probably got the weirdest cross section of listeners, because I know, we're mainly kaiju. We talk a lot about Godzilla and all that stuff, but I get a lot of people while we were in New York for the Ghostbusters Afterlife premiere. We were at our party that we threw the night before, and I had multiple people come up to me, and thank you to those people who were like, "Hey, I love Monster Island, and I don't know anything about you." Like people have reached out to me and said, like, I don't watch Godzilla, but it's really fun to listen to you guys talk about it. And some people are, discovering it from, just listening to the show. So it's like we have that weird cross section of like YHS fans who just listen because this is a YHS show.
Yeah.
And I like that. So tonight last week, YHS Prime put out 5 episodes about Ghostbusters Afterlife, because we did attend the world premiere. We had a party. Jason Reitman showed up at our party. We interviewed Jason Reitman for the show. We just got off the phone with Logan Kim, who plays podcast in the film. So to kind of bring it all together tonight, we're going to talk about Stay Puft Marshmallow Man later, because he's kind of a kaiju, I think. So
yeah, and I love this cross section.
We're crossing the streams, Jay.
We're crossing the streams between kaiju and Ghostbusters, and who better to kind of lead this than a man that's become famous for gabbing about ghosts, gawking at ghouls, and giggling at goblins. He will analyze apparitions, sermonize spirits, and philosophize phantasms. And if you try to stump him on Ghostbusters trivia, he'll fold you up like origami. But tonight, he's going to be the final word on if Stay Puft is kaiju, yokai, or kami. We're all just spectators in his speculation on specters. He's Mr. Jacob Walsh.
I'm going to make Craig say that one on every episode. We're going to take that soundbite. Jay, thank you so much. I can't. I'll never get tired of those. I appreciate that. Yeah, before we get into that though, we're gonna do the usual. We'll talk about if we've watched anything, if we've bought any toys. I don't know if you've watched anything.
I watched Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah, okay. So me too, and that's the only movie I have seen in the last 3 weeks.
But you've seen it 12 times, so there.
Almost. Yeah. So no kaiju films that we could skip this part.
Yeah, I think this week we can skip it because I did see Ghostbusters Afterlife, so I'm I'm like I said, I know enough to be dangerous. The closest thing, I mean, I did finally see Shang-Chi, and there's the dragon fight at the end, and maybe we can discuss
dragon,
their. Yeah, maybe we can discuss their kaiju. We can throw
our dragons kaiju.
Hey, Don't. Hey, we're not there yet, man. We are not there
Okay.
yet.
All right.
But no, I didn't watch anything. I'm planning, as we kind of approach the holidays. I do
Mhm.
like when work gets a little bit slower, and you can kind of ease into the weekends and stuff, and when the kids go to bed, I just have a feeling I'm going to be just rewatching a
Yeah.
lot of my favorites, because I've been itching lately to go back
Mhm.
and rewatch some like old Showa era Godzilla,
Yeah,
stuff that I
dude.
haven't seen in a handful of months and stuff, and I might watch Yamato Takaru 17 times. I don't know.
I want to
So
rewatch that one.
I know, so I'm excited, but I didn't watch anything this last period of
Yeah.
time. I was too busy listening to all the YHS content. It took up all my time.
Thank you. I've seen Ghostbusters Afterlife 5 times, and I rewatched Shin Godzilla again, but
Nice.
nothing new there, nothing new to report.
It's still
on
good.
that one. It's still maybe the best Godzilla movie we'll ever get in our lifetimes. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, so none here either. Yeah, but I agree with you. I think Christmas time, we'll kind of chill out a little bit. I remember, I don't know if it was last year or not. I usually visit my mom for Christmas, and she still has cable.
Oh, nice.
Vintage people who haven't moved forward with like streaming, and she still has cable. And I remember last year, I don't remember what channel it was, but there was a channel that was just doing a Godzilla marathon for Christmas, and it was like 2 days long.
Oh.
So
was it the El Rey network? I know they usually do that.
I don't know if it was.
Does that channel still exist?
I don't think it does, and that's why. Like, I know they used to do that a lot, and I used to watch El Rey anytime I went to my mom's house, because that's a good, or it was a good channel, but
yeah.
I don't think it was.
Was it Comet? I know. Was it the Comet channel or whatever? They play a lot of old stuff. Yeah.
Anyway, hopefully that's happening during Christmas break. I
hope so.
I did go to. Well, you know what? We'll kind of skip forward then, and we'll talk about pickups, because I know you got some stuff, dude.
I got some stuff.
I got a few little things, but nothing crazy. But I did. I have been back to Toy Tokyo in between podcasts again, and still didn't buy anything. Like, I did get some of my pickups at Toy Tokyo, but they're nothing. I'm going to get them out of the way.
No, don't say that. No. Every pickup's valuable, man.
I went to Toy Tokyo, and I was so excited because I was like, you know what? I really want to buy a toy. And what it made me do is I walked out of Toy Tokyo and then bought a toy off your site. Because I went, all right, we'll get there in a second.
That's so funny. Thank you. That's amazing.
The only thing that I really bought in there is I bought some. They have some of those like gotcha machines.
Yeah,
and I've never bought anything out of those before, but I was like, these look fun, and I don't have them here. Maybe I do. I bought They had some Gamera. They had a Gamera one, and I got 2 out of those. I just got like a Gamera and a Gaios, and and then they had a Child's Play one.
That's amazing.
And I got 2 of those, but it ended up giving me the same ones. And then they had Pennywise ones, and it's cool because those little gotcha, like, they were like $5 a piece. You got to buy little tokens and put the tokens in, but they're like a step up from, like, you look at those machines and you're just like, oh, they're just like quarter everywhere. But the toys inside they're higher quality than those little they're cool little figures, and
they're like a step up from like the little Keshi figures, like the little racer figures.
And I want to, I was looking online trying to see if I can find a website that just sells all the gotchas, because am I saying that right? Is that how it's?
That's how I've always said it. Yeah, and I know Maru-san does the Maru Gacha, which is like their little guys, which are pretty expensive. I mean, for what you think, I think some of them go for like $50 to $80, but they're like 2.5 inches tall.
Yeah,
that's how I've always said it. So if you're saying it wrong, I'm saying it wrong.
That's how it's spelled. So, but I do want to pick up the other, like, Gamera, It, and Child's Play ones, because they're cool. But the only other thing that I bought at Toy Tokyo that is kaiju related is there are now some Godzilla finger puppet blind bags that exist.
Yes.
I just picked up 2 of them.
I love it.
And I got Godzilla and Mechagodzilla there.
Classic
the classic
pairing there.
ones, you know, they have a lot of good ones, you know. There's a Biollante that I was hoping for. I was kind of trying to feel the bags a little bit.
If it's the bigger one, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't get Biollante. But this is the classic 54 Godzilla and you know your original Mechagodzilla. So these guys are cool. I love these little things.
Finger puppets are great, man. They're affordable and there's so much variety, and you can get them in cool. You can get them like loose like that where they display so well, but you can also get like the cool display boxes that have, you know, different ones. Like you can do so much cool stuff, and they don't break the bank account, and they don't take up a ton of space, but yet they're like you can cover off on so many properties and so many different kaiju. It's awesome.
Right. As far as Toy Tokyo, I didn't buy anything else in there. It was, you know, I was just there at the beginning of October, and the kaiju stuff, the Godzilla stuff hasn't really changed from then. So it was basically the same stuff. And but the one thing it made me do is you have these beautiful Stay Puffs sitting behind you.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot.
the secret base Stay Puft figures, and they have a couple. The first first time I've ever seen those were in Toy Tokyo. When I went to Toy Tokyo the first time, you know, whatever, a year ago or whatever, they had them then, and I went in there and they had 2 of them, and I was like, "Fuck, I have to get one of these.
Yeah.
Like, these are amazing. They're beautiful. I would love to get a couple of them and start collecting them." But I was like, Jay's got some of these in his store.
Yeah.
The one I really wanted to start off with the plane where he's not cut in half. You had that one.
I do have that one, yeah.
Or
not anymore.
I walked out of the store and said, Jay, I want it, buying it. So I know it doesn't count. I don't have it in hand yet, but
it counts. Yeah, it's there.
But
It'll be there.
So I got one other thing I'll show off, and then I'll let you take, because I know you got some good stuff, so I'm letting you have it.
I have a good week. This has been a good week.
You got a good week. So I got back from. I also did stop by My Plastic Heart, the actual store, which is a cool little store.
I feel like My Plastic Heart, like there has to be a Jacob Walsh as an influencer advertising. I feel like you speak about them so much, and there's a lot of synergies there between what they do and you as an entity, as a influencer, as a brand. There's just a lot of stuff. I mean, I think they're missing out on something. I think you need to be their spokesperson.
They should really get on it. That's a cool little store. I was really happy. I didn't realize that they had an actual store, you know, the first few times, and we've kind of just gotten into them big time recently in the last couple of months. So it was cool to go in there and see that place. But when I got home from New York, I had a pre-order that I made a while back waiting on me. And I bought these little, again, they were in the little gotcha things. I didn't realize, I thought that they were just like in a blind box. There's 5 total, and I bought the whole set because I didn't want to just buy a couple. I just bought the whole set. But I got more of these fucking little cute Nagora kaiju cats.
Oh, that one is awesome.
These just came out. So there's 5. There's number 1 there.
I like that colorway right there. That's pretty awesome.
Dude, they're all cool. I got this guy. They're so cute. I love these things. Let's see. This one.
Oh, that's a cool
This
one
one's
too.
cool. I like he's got green feet.
Yeah.
These things are taking over my life.
Hey, there's worse things to take over your life than that. Yeah.
They're so cute, man. And like, you know, I'm going to get in my toy room pretty soon and start, you know, I got to do some reorganizing, but man, as soon as I'm going to have a whole detox of cute kaiju. The last one kind of looks like a tiger, and he's like a small version of the big one that I bought at New York Comic Con.
Oh, that's amazing. That's like a classic move.
Yeah, these are waiting on me, and I love it. You know, they're small, and I'm not usually one to buy like the real tiny things, but to have like, I now have like 3 different sizes of these Nagoras, and they're just fun, dude. I just love these, man.
They're designer toys, man. They're art. They're cute. They're kaiju. They're collectible. I mean, that's lots of words there, but it's the cats.
Yeah,
but they're pretty awesome. And I mean, hey, you're not alone. I mean, that kind of designer toy subculture or whatever is booming right now. So I think you're going to get a lot more of these, like these indie companies and companies like My Plastic Heart, like they're rocking and rolling, man, and producing great stuff.
Yeah,
whether
for
it's
sure.
Max Toy Co. or Rocom Toys with Death Jaguar or whatever
Dude,
it is.
They're about to, those guys. How are they? Is it just Rocom? Is that?
I think it's Rocom Toys, right? I think,
they, not to jump ahead. I don't want to jump ahead and get into new stuff, but like they just designed some stuff that Mondo's releasing. Those guys they're about to kill it.
Yeah, they're. I mean, not only do they have the Death Jaguar, but their Future Me or whatever it is another like line that they're doing that's really like people just absolutely love it. And it's great. I mean, it's nice to see, like, when you say designer toys, you don't automatically go to like Bear Brick and Kid Robot and Funko and all those. Like, you're getting like these indies are really kicking butt. And I mean, I love the Michael Morse Toys out here in Texas that does the big Boji, the big boy ones, and he does a lot of the Hedera stuff is awesome. And there's a lot of really great independent artists and designers. And I actually just bought one from Toy Snobs it's like a mashup between Ninja Turtles and Masters of the Universe. They look great, but once again, these independent designer toy folks are just taking over, and it's awesome, and I love it. And it's a path not everybody should go down because it is overwhelming and expensive.
It is, dude.
But if you're cool with that and that, and you might have to trade off some of the toy lines. I know I've had to do that. It's well worth it because there's some really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, that's as far as pickups, that's it for me, except for this amazing Mothra t-shirt came in. I love this shirt, amazing. Man. I've been like scared to wear it to work because like I don't want to ruin it, but this is just a beautiful shirt from Cavity Colors. So
I love it.
What do you got, dude?
Okay, so I got a couple things that I've been really, really digging, and I've been really excited to get. Now, the first one, I'm going to start off with a very popular item that I don't want to say I have issues with, but I do want to have a conversation about it because, like I said, it was interesting when I got it. So Mondo has been, just if you go by awareness and just people getting really energized about their Sofubi drops for Godzilla and Hedera. I mean, they're killing it, right? There is just a lot of chatter about it. People are loving them. They're doing smaller production runs and selling out in, nanoseconds and everything. And I've yet to pick up any after, kind of when I knew that it was kind of hard to get them. I was like, you know what, I'll see if there's one I really want, and I'll buy it on the secondhand market, and then we'll go from there. And when they released, and we talked about it on this show, when they released kind of their pipeline of Godzilla colorways, there was one that stood out. It was just like, it was I very 80s, Miami Vice, Kung Fury, whatever you want to like, that teal blue and that, or early 90s, I guess, even, and that electric purple, and just was wacky. And they released it, unfortunately, even harder to get than a drop, because they released it at Designer Con, and I wasn't in Anaheim that week. So, nor many weeks am I in Anaheim, but I went ahead and I bought it secondhand, a little bit of a markup, but that's okay. So I bought this bad boy. So it's the 84 Godzilla. Love the suit. Nothing wrong with that. And the colorway is absolutely stunning. And for me, it's one that I really, really like. So good there. But when I got it, and it's going to be hard to articulate it because it's more of a kind of an intangible or kind of an emotion or a feeling. Like, I pick it up, I'm holding it. I didn't get like the charm and the love I get from some of my other Sofubi items. And I don't know if it's the size. It's a little bit smaller. In fact, I'll not to, go ahead here or anything, but like, here's just your regular 350 from Marasan. And as you can tell, like, there's a size difference. Yeah. It's a little heavier. I think a lot of it has to do with the sculpt. It's a little bit more accurate, right? Which I think sometimes works against Sofubi, because it's like you want to make it kind of whether it's cuter, rounder edges or softer. It just doesn't like that. It just seems like a small, less articulated figure that's screen accurate, but they just changed the colorway. And so, is it a cool figure? Yes. Am I glad I got it? Yes. If somebody paid just the retail price for this, I would do that, 10 times out of 10. So I want to make sure like I'm not hating on this figure by any means, but I don't think I'm going to, as much as I love the colorway, I don't think I'm going to go down the Mondo path for Sofa because for some reason it just doesn't have, I don't have that connection to it that I do some of the other Sophobie items. I don't feel like it's something I need to do. And like I said, I don't know how to explain it, but so excited to get this, but I don't think I'm going to go down that road at least yet.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, man, because it almost feels like, that is a good looking toy.
It's a great. Please, I 100% agree.
But I see what you mean, dude. I haven't even tried to buy any of those, and whenever they came out that they were gonna sell those, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick the colorway I like and just buy one. I'm not gonna try to get them all. But then, dude, I've passed on. I haven't even thought about buying any of those and the Hedorah, and I think it's almost like I don't want to say I love Mondo, and I'm so glad they're putting out a bunch of Godzilla stuff. I'm glad they're coming out with these statues.
Statues are great.
I buy a bunch of their posters, man. I got every Godzilla poster that Waylon has put on Mondo. I got every one.
He's the best. He's the best.
Is. And I love what they're doing. But as far as the like Sofubi figures, you know already that like I've never been big into Sofubi until recently, and I'm only now starting to get to where I'm wanting to buy those over the more accurate things.
Yeah.
But there's something about these that's just like, they're not from Japan. I feel like a dick, but it's like, they're not real. They're not real Sofubis. They're it's exactly what you said. The charm's not quite there. And the charm is, for me, the charm is 100% the only reason I buy any Sofubis.
100%.
You know what I mean? Because I am one of those people who likes to have the X plus more realistic figures. So the thing that really got me on Sofubis is like how silly some of them look.
Yeah.
So I get it, man. I get it. But saying that, while I was in New York, somebody in one of the Godzilla groups posted one of those for sale. Yeah. That's that same figure. And,
nice.
And it was because like they picked it up for somebody who then decided they didn't want it. So they posted it, and I happened to be online like right when they posted it, and they were like, hey, I'm not looking, their markup wasn't crazy. They were just like looking for a tip. And for 2 seconds, I was like, I might want to buy this just because it's available here. And I know that's harder to get. But I was in New York, and I was like, I'm not.
Got to spend it on a Ghostbusters.
Getting online, spending money on something that I'm not sure I want. So, but that being said, that's a beautiful toy. Like it is. It looks great.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't regret it at all. It's not like, oh my gosh, I don't like this. It's just that this. I'm glad I just started with the one that I absolutely knew I was going to love the colorway and the look. And I didn't start with just, the first one was the glow in the dark cherry blossom one. And it was fine. It was okay. Yeah. But if I would have got that, I think I would have been disappointed. But like this one, like I said, there's also so much good on it. And like I said, the colorway is
sculpt's great, man.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool sculpt.
Great. It is.
And even though I just said all that about the Sofubis or whatever, they also unveiled that they're about to, they're doing Jet Jaguar next. I don't know if it's next, but they're putting out a Biollante.
Yeah.
And they're doing Jet Jaguar, and they have showed off 2 of the colorways. There's like just the regular Jet Jaguar, and then there's one that's all red. I think they called it the they call it the
fireman.
The fireman, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing 5. They're going to do 5 total, and I don't know. I ain't going to be trying to buy all 5 of those either, but I'm 100% at least trying to get the regular Jet Jaguar. And it's like, it's that kind of thing where it's like, I don't care who's putting it out. If it's Jet Jaguar, I'm trying to buy it. You know what I mean? Like there's a million Godzilla things, so it's easier to pick and choose, but it's like, if it's Megalon, Biollante, or Jet Jaguar, I'm buying it.
Yeah, Mondo must be fans of Jacob Walsh. I mean, the fact that they're going out with Jet and Biollante, it's like,
I could not when that photo was posted. They revealed those by just having them at their booth at Designer Con. There was no online. They just posted it, and I didn't even notice it at first because everything else, was stuff that I think I'd already seen. So it was like, okay, cool. But then I was like, oh, hold on. I was like, why is there a Biollante in there? Because when I saw the Biollante at first, I thought it was that D for real Biollante because it's sort of similar. But I was like, Mondo's fucking, they're doing it, man.
They look really good. I mean, those images that they showed from Designer Con, they look awesome.
It looks great.
Yeah. So I'm pumped, man. So other than that, I did. So I talked about last time how I've started to kind of really collect the Marasan Biogojis, the Godzilla 1989s, and I kicked that off, and I got the. Originally, I had just the Shinji Nishikawa, which was kind of that, they call it the dark clear, but it was that kind of purple iridescent kind of clear vinyl, which was really cool. And then I got the orange and black clear one as well, which I think we talked about on the last show. So since then, I picked up 4 more. So I'm hitting it hard here. And I still have a few more to go, but I picked up some really cool ones. I'll show these off. All the same sculpt, all the same line, just from the different exclusives and things of that nature. So this one was like the orange clear one, the red clear one. It also was one of the Asakusa pop-ups in Japan for a 1-day pop-up that they ran. So this one was really cool. It's hard to see in here, but it is a translucent vinyl. So it has a little, we hold it to the light, you can see right through it. And the kind of the black accents, I guess, if you will, but it's really a beautiful piece, especially when you see it in the light and next to the orange one. A really cool piece. And of course the sculpt's awesome. And I love, Biogoji suits the best. So it's not, that
looks like a red hot. That looks like a red hot or some licorice or something. I like it.
Well, speaking of hot, this guy right here, you look at him, he just looks like just normal kind of sea green here, seafoam green. But if he gets hot, if you douse him with a hot hair dryer, he will actually change colors to a kind of pea yellow, a baby vomit, if you will. Color yellow. It's really cool that this guy will do that. So it's the first color change Sofubi that I have, and I love it that this line is just doing wacky gimmicks.
Dude, first of all, the sculpt, everything about these toys are amazing. And it's weird when if you put this toy up next to the Mondo toy, it's like they're so similar, but it's just like the minute details that are done on the actual Sofubi that just make it dude. Also, this may be a future episode, but that toy reminds me, should we do an entire episode on whether or not Godzilla's green or not? Because I feel like there's pretty good evidence for that he is and he's not. So
it depends what Godzilla, right? Hey, can Godzilla fly? Can he do drop kicks? It just all depends. The other one I got, which was one that I kind of panicked and got this one because I hadn't seen it before.
I know the panic buy.
Oh yeah, and I loved it. It's probably not my favorite, but it's up there. I thought it was so cool, but I just was like, this is a new one. I don't see it anywhere else. I got to get it. But it's this glow in the dark gray, and so it's really cool. It's a dark gray, almost this kind of milky white ivory type vinyl, and these really pretty blue accents, and it glows in the dark. And they released the same, basically the same paint job, but in pink. For as well, glow in the dark. So I'm going to get that one as well. He's a little bit pricier. That's probably one of that and another one are probably the most pricey.
What I like the most about that one is that how his color, his gray, he's very muted and kind of earthy tones, but then they use that bright blue on his spines. It looks great.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's like he's powering up. And then the last one on my Biogojis was one that I've bought and sold on Toku Toy Town a lot, and it's one of those where I just like, after I've sold like the 4th or 5th one and they last like 10 minutes on the side, I'm like, I probably need to get one for one. And so I got, as Ryan Wilhelm, good listener of the podcast, from Dallas Vintage Toys would say, Disco Goji. It is the translucent vinyl, all glitter Biogoji. And now there is a red eye and a black eye. I got the black eye one. I think the red eye one's a little bit more rare than this guy. I think I have the more common one, but I like it. And this thing, like, I don't know if we're doing Kaiju collectible of the year at for the Jeffries this year for YHS, but this guy is in the consideration. At least has to be on the voting, the ballot. He's beautiful, and I love it. And truly, I think it's a little bit hyperbolic. We always say that, it'll stand out on the shelf. I mean, I know when I write sales copy for all the toys of Toku Toy Town, every one is a must-have.
Right.
But this guy really does. I put him on a shelf where I have a ton of Sofubi items, and the first thing your eye goes to is the all glitter Godzilla. So
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the pride of your collection, Jay. I that thing's beautiful, and I wonder if it would be cool. I don't know if it exists, but like if that same kind of glitter colorway exists just for other kaiju, like to just have a shelf of just all glitter, all white glitter. I'm sure it probably does.
There's two others that are released at the same time. So this was a exclusive to the Tokyo Hand store in Shibuya.
Okay.
So they released two other ones done in this exact same style, translucent vinyl with the glitter that pair with this guy, and he is Bio Goji. So you can imagine
There's
is both
Biolante out there
in rose form and monster form. Biolante is the other one.
God.
Yeah. So no, it exists. And it's a Marusan. See, these are all 350s. They're 350 line. They're 450 line, which is their biggest. That's what the Biolante, the monster version, the beast version of it is.
Yeah.
And it's huge. I mean, I think it's like a foot wide, a foot long. I don't even know how tall. But it's out there. It's just really expensive.
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
What you're telling me though is one of us has to get that and attach it to the wall, put it on a spinner, so it's just like a disco ball in our living room.
I pretty much, when we open up the YHS on Monster Island themed bar or restaurant or whatever type of establishment that we're gonna theme our podcast out for, I think that there has to be the Disco Goji disco ball.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
Those are beautiful figures, man. Are there like, is that one of the lines where there's just like a countless number of those, or is there like
I want to
so many?
I want to say there's 5 or 6 more. There's I know off the top of my head there's a blue glitter and a green glitter. There's the pink glow in the dark. There is the kind of what I call the classic one. It looks very similar to this guy, but it's a little bit more of a little darker green. And it is what it is. It's just classic.
Yeah.
And then there is a green clear. So kind of like the orange and the red one, but green.
Mm-hmm.
And I think and I have to validate this. I think there's a variant to the clear red where it also has some gold accents on it. And it looks pretty cool. I don't know. I have to do some digging on that one. And I think that might be it. So it's a
but that's reachable.
Line.
Yeah,
that's 100%.
You can make that happen.
Yeah, and they all of these were exclusives either to pop-ups or even the best case scenario was still a small production run.
Yeah.
So they're out there. You're not getting deals on them yet. Marusan's already moved past the Biogoji sculpt. I think they're doing the same format, doing the multiple releases of these types of the glitters and the clears with other Godzilla suits. I can't remember which one they're doing now.
Okay.
But so I don't think they're going to be releasing any more of these. So I think it's a finite number. It's reachable. Just have some patience. And like I said, they're out there. They aren't impossible to get yet. And and some of them are less expensive than others. I mean, I think the glitter, the sparkle glitters is its official name, the disco one, and the 2 glow in the darks are pretty. They can get up there if you don't watch yourself. But the and the blue glitter one as well. Yeah. The other ones are all manageable. They're not.
Glitter is just in the Sofubi world. Glitter is in real life. Glitter is trash and nobody wants it. But in the Sofubi world, glitter is everything.
Yeah,
it's really like the Dazzler from X-Men made Sofubi.
It really is. It's funny, like glow in the dark and glitter sells in Sofubi. Sure. It's just insane. Okay, so I got to show you this one because we've done an episode on it.
Okay.
It's a movie that is much maligned across the board, whether you're a Godzilla fan or not, and that of course is Godzilla 1998. But it's not one that you see that Godzilla design, the Zilla design, done in Sofubi, and done in a cool way. And there's only been really Marmot did an adult, and then the Zilla baby's a 2-pack. And I've been looking for the adult for so long, and I finally grabbed it. And here it is. There it is. The Marmot 1998 Godzilla. I absolutely love this piece of Sofubi. I really do. And hate the movie. We've talked about, on our
Yeah.
episode. I encourage everybody to go listen. Like, the design isn't a total lost cause. And there's some things that they could have happened. And I actually think it looks really cool would you love to see like classic Godzilla against this kaiju grown up, like this more upright kind of traditional kaiju style? This just shows that there's something there. And it's, I don't know, it's pretty cool. And I love the blue belly really pops. And I think it's just really a cool colorway and really well done.
Yeah, dude. I've seen that figure like in passing and online and stuff like that. And you're right, man. That's a beautiful figure. And it's weird. I know we've already talked about this, but I have an attraction to some 98 Godzilla like merchandise.
Yeah.
Some of the art, some of the toys are pretty great. That's probably the best, man. That's probably the best thing that came out of that film. That's a good dude. All of those, like, I know there's also they did the babies as well, right?
Yeah, they did.
They're great looking.
Yeah, I actually just sold the babies on Toku Toy Town. I actually was able to get some from a guy that was trying to dump them at a low price, and I was able to get them to a guy that really wanted them for a fair deal. And it was they're great. They're awesome. And they look evil and menacing like they do in the film. They're pretty cool stuff. But yeah, they've done some. I wish they would do more. But hey, it makes this one even, I don't know, a little bit more rare and collectible. Sure. So you talked about earlier about Sofa being X Plus, and so like you, I've kind of walked that fine line where I've kind of want both, right? Like, it's like I see what X Plus I want, and I see a Sofa item. So I did get a new X Plus in, ordered it many moons ago, but it finally came in because I used the one online retailer, that we won't name on here, that usually takes about 18 times longer than Awesome Collector and the other ones for our X Plus needs. And I got the 92 Mothra in. And so I'm going to try to carry it over here without destroying it, because, that's something that would likely happen. So it's hard to show here, but as you can imagine, it's a beautiful piece. Boy. And yeah, I love it. And so I have it's so big. I know. I have the Yuji Sakai 92 Godzilla from X Plus, 30 centimeter. And I have the Batra Larva because two really nice youngsters from Atlanta were nice enough to buy it and ship it to me. And so I can kind of complete, even though I don't, technically, to make it more accurate, I would need the Flying Batra. Don't have that one because they don't have it. But at least I have all the monsters from that film now, so I can put them together in a nice little display. But I love this. I mean, this is beautiful. I'll see if I can get a good shot of the wings there. The 92. Whoa, I know, right? I love the, luckily that was the base and not the Mothra. I love Showa Mothra. Mothra versus Godzilla might be my favorite film, but how the color and the wings pop on the 92 and the Heisei Mothra, it's beautiful and really lends itself to like statues and figures and stuff of that nature. So this just like, I have this big kind of display shelf for a lot of the X Pluses, and I'm looking at it right now. And, it's Megalon and Anguirus and like 7 or 8 Godzillas and Space Godzilla. And I even have the Ghidorah I have is the red, white, and blue one from the original coloring. It's all dark. Like, it's darker tones, right?
They're all gray.
With the exception of like you have a Mecha Godzilla at the end, and I have Titanosaurus, but those still they don't pop, right?
Right.
I put this in the middle, and it's just amazing. It like brightens it up. It's amazing, and it's I need this one. I need this one to more positive energy.
I've been pretty as far as X Plus goes, it's a higher end. They're more expensive figures, and I've been pretty careful on like what I've allowed myself to get into as far as X Plus. I don't have many, but to me, when I saw this, I was like, I'm not going to get Mothra. I'm easily passing on that. But I saw you showing this off on Toy Anxiety last night, and I'm jealous of that. Like, it's big and impressive. And you're right. Like the Heisei Mothra, it's the best Mothra. I think it's better than the show. The Showa Mothra.
100%.
It's just everything about that design that's a perfectly redesign of a kaiju. So Dude, congratulations on that thing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and you know, I've seen a lot of people post the Mondo statue, the Mothra one and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And that looks great. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff out there right now for Mothra, which is wonderful. But I'm like you, like I never jump on any like Mothra stuff. But I was like, I want to have an X Plus of Mothra. It's one of the ones I wanted just because I don't have anything. I don't have any big Mothra. I don't have really any Mothra sofa.
Yeah.
Like I have a couple of these vintage Bandai, but that's about it. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna do it. Because for X Plus, it's on the lower end of cost compared to some of the other stuff that I know you and I have been buying recently.
Yeah,
like some of those Godzillas. And I was blown away with how good it looks. I was not expecting. And mine's the standard. I didn't get the Rick exclusive or anything, but mine was. It's great. I really like it a lot.
They're beautiful. Even that Mondo Mothra is fucking beautiful, man. I just it makes me start to rethink because it's like I've always loved Mothra, but Mothra has never been on my my list of like needs as far as care. I have a good bit of Mothra stuff. I have a whole shelf devoted to just Mothra stuff, and it's one of those things that like. I sometimes feel like I get put off of buying Mothra stuff because she's hard to display because of her wings. It's hard to like. It's a hard display piece, but it's the best looking. Like she is so colorful and bright, and like it's just such a good thing, dude. Like can you imagine an X? Like if you just think about your dream world where there's an X Plus shelf, and you had all the different Mothras. And I know you do not like the rebirth of Mothra films. I haven't watched those in a long time.
Designs.
So I can't
some
say
cool
anything,
designs.
But like Rainbow Mothra and
Armor Mothra.
Battle Armor Mothra. Like the Mothra that's just like black and white. Like
I love Aqua Mothra.
Can you imagine just X Plus of all the different Mothras?
It'd be amazing.
Fuck me, dude. Those would be amazing.
100%. Like I said, I agree. I think it's we don't talk about it enough. I think in the Kaiju collectible community, but it's Mothra's lack of displayability is a pain, and that's really the reason. I'm right there with you. It's like Mothra's hard to display, and King Ghidorah takes up 8 shelves.
They all like it's bad enough like buying a Godzilla X Plus and his tail's fucking 14 feet long. So. That's a thing for all. Like Mechagodzilla is probably the best you can get because he's got such a short tail.
Or Megalon's great.
Get some Gabbro where he's got no tail. Or But dude, everybody's fucking.
Maybe that's why Hedorah is so popular in Sofa B. It's the easiest to display. It's just like makes total sense now. So the last thing I have, Jake, and I was talking to you off air, not a toy, but a Kaiju collectible. Ultimate Kaiju collectible. And I said, I don't know if there's that many people that would appreciate this as much as us because it's something that I'm not familiar with. Okay. But it merges, and it was funny because you mentioned Godzilla or it as a gotcha and stuff was like kind of merging like Kaiju collectibles, Japanese collectibles, and it or whatever it might be. So this is merging both of our loves for Godzilla, but also both of our loves for paleontology and dinosaurs, and especially older depictions of dinosaurs before people knew what they were talking about. So I found this, and it's from 1978. And it's and I'm not familiar with this, so I don't know if I'm saying this right, and I don't know anything about it, so I apologize. But there's an old Japanese card game called Karata, I believe it is.
Okay.
And they released these cards, and there's every set has like cards that have just pictures on it. I think they're called like grabber cards, and then reader cards, which are just like text. And I don't know how the game is played. I don't know anything about it, but they come in a box. So there's some art on the front, and they come and they have these cards, which each card, these ones have pictures of these beautiful pictures. Yeah. So 1978, they released, I don't know why they did this, a karate game of Godzilla and dinosaurs. And it is truly just Godzilla with dinosaurs. And it is amazing. And I want to open it up here. I'll show you some of these some of the picture cards here. So there's 4 of these little card sets. And as you can see, like here are the ones like with picture. And I'll take the little paper off here. Hold on one second. Sorry, this is still the original tape is on it. So I'm opening up as we see here. So yeah, I know, right? That's okay. So you have the art here. So there's there's your like Elasmosaurus, your plesiosaur, and and then there's Gabara. And then the other ones are just these like these reader cards. They're just text. They're just like the written stuff.
Just like tells you how to do something. Right?
Yeah, and there's instructions and things like that in here too. But just looking at this, I mean, like on the side here, you have probably some sort of duck-billed dinosaur like an Anatosaurus or whatever, and a Diplodocus, and then you have Stegosaurus, and then on this side you have Minya.
Oh my god, dude. The art's really cool too. Like it's very fun, like kind of throwbacky looking. That's cool. I love that.
Well, and so I did a little digging, like literally right before the show, on just like okay, like Godzilla and dinosaurs. What's the story here, and what else did they do? So I'm going to share my screen here. I want to show you. I found they released a few other of these sets with Godzilla. So I'm going to show you a few of these here. Hold on one second. So look at this bad boy.
Whoa.
So this is the original Godzilla Karada set that they released, and or Karuda set, I guess. And this was from the 50s. So this was, as you can tell, this is kind of the Gigantus, the fire monster. Godzilla raids again.
Yeah, you can like tell exactly what photo they kind of based that off, but that's very cool.
So there was that, and then these were the ones that came with it. So there's Godzilla in 1955 Angara. So I haven't seen this one. I did a quick scan, and it's probably in a museum somewhere. But this is a little bit close up of the one I just showed you for those that can't see. And here was one they released a little bit later, right there from the 70s. I think this was released in the early 80s, actually, but from your big 70s guys like Gigan and stuff.
Yeah.
And then this was one that's apparently really popular. That's kind of the
sea monster art.
Yeah,
sea monster suit.
So really cool stuff here. So this is something that maybe we can, and this is all they released that I know about. And so it's a card game, but like I said, it has some good displayability, has cool artwork. There's a cool history to it. And it spans, a 40, 50 year period. And I was kind of really excited to grab that one. And I'm glad it was the dinosaur one, because, I love dinosaurs. Like,
it's the best one.
Yeah. So that was the last thing I had picked up, and not a toy, but definitely a Kaiju collectible. And I'm really excited to add it to the collection.
Dude, I love that anything with that old, like it's interesting when you find Godzilla stuff that's old like that has artwork on it that you've just never seen. Like, kind of weird. Some of that artwork almost looked like William Stout artwork, and it's like that's all really good stuff. Like seeing it's always weird to me. And I know with Godzilla, we'll never see it all. There's so much of it, there's just tons of it. But like anytime that happens with something you love, it's like, oh, this came out in the 70s, and it's just all this beautiful artwork from an artist that we'll probably never know who did it. And it's just like amazing, like Godzilla with some dinosaurs or something. Like, dude, I love, that's the coolest thing.
Yeah. So I was really pumped to grab it. And if I see any more of them, I might be tempted to grab some other ones. And I promise, if I see this one again, I am picking one up for you.
I appreciate it.
I don't know anybody else that would appreciate just the weirdness of it, and like I said, the beautiful art. And
it was made for me. Somebody made that. They made that for the two of us. So
I love it. So so good week. I mean, from my plastic art vinyl cats to crazy card games from Japan. We did a little bit of everything.
I will be on Monday. I'm heading down to Jacksonville, and I'm gonna try to hit. There's a toy store down there that I usually hit up when I'm in the area, and I have bought Godzilla stuff there before. He's always got different stuff when I go in there. It's been a while since I've been in, so I'm not sure if he'll have any, but hopefully he'll have something. So
it's always fun to find some weird and wacky new Godzilla stuff or Kaiju stuff to pick up. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, last time I was in there, I bought that Godzilla White Castle Frisbee.
Oh yes.
So
maybe you'll have some more kind of like merch, crossover and stuff like that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, dude. We get some more stuff. Dude, I don't know. Like as far as news, I don't want to get super deep into news. Like there were those two big, amazing statues that were released. Who put those out?
I believe it
XM?
was XM Studios in here real quick. Just to make everybody that's watching this on YouTube, just to make them all really sad. Look how beautiful that thing is.
I mean, I cannot. I don't. Also, they're like they're huge. They're
Yeah,
like,
look at
I
that.
mean,
There's the
look,
scale.
how big do you think that? I mean, that's a good. What do you think that is? 2.5 feet, 3 feet?
I think it's about. They do have. I know. I don't have it. I don't have an image of it, but I know they do actually have one. XM released it with the actual measurements, so it's out there. I just don't know what it is. How gorgeous is that? Oh, actually, here it is. I'll scroll down and find it. I'll show you right now. It is 60 centimeters
60
tall.
centimeters.
So
Okay.
30 is about 12 inches. So it's about 2 feet tall.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they're beautiful. There's this one, and then in the
I gotta get to. There we go.
Oh boy.
I know it's funny. It's like I know we'll throw out Bio Goji because we both love Bio Goji, but if we talked about some of our other favorite modern suits, I think you probably would say Shin, and I probably would say GMK, and it's like those. It's these two.
It's these two. And what's crazy is like I like Shin over GMK.
Yeah,
but I feel like as far as these busts go, the GMK one is the best one. This is the better of the two. I think it's a little more dynamic.
Yeah.
His spine, he's got some very big spines happening here. It's just, I don't know, man. I like these both. I don't buy a lot of statues. These are running at about $1,000. I think you can get these on a payment plan if you want. I thought they were going to be more than $1,000, and I cannot lie. If they put out a Bio Goji, I would be tempted to pick one of these up. I'm not a big statue guy, but this is like a showstopper piece. This is like
it really
you
is.
Put this in the middle of your living room.
You do you put it in a glass case, like it really, and we always joke, like we always, it's once again, I use the term, we sometimes get hyperbolic on our collectibles and like, this is our centerpiece, this is our signature piece.
Yeah.
But one of these things, like you put it there, it really is. And I know I was very tempted on the GMK one. I think if they would have done a 68 Godzilla, I think I would have jumped on it, even though I don't think it's a better design. But to me, that is like,
it's more personal to you.
Yeah. And when I think, we always, when somebody says, do you like Godzilla? Because we do have a vast knowledge of Godzilla, I'm sure a million images pop in our head, but one has to be first. And like when you say Godzilla, my head, first thing it goes to is 68, even more than 54. And so I think if they did one, I would probably get it because they don't do a ton of 68 stuff. I think that would be one, but GMK, oh man, that was tempting, man. It really was.
Those are two heavy hitters to start with. I'm surprised that they released two back, like
so close together.
Like those big expensive things like that, you would think they would put one out. It really feels like maybe a kind of situation where they were like, they really loved both, and they were like, "Fuck, we couldn't decide. We can't pick one. Let's just put them both out." So
I think you're right.
I would assume if those do well, they'll keep going and do some more.
And I think it might have been also, I don't know enough about XM, but like, if they wanted to get some stuff out before the holidays or something, there could have been some there. And I agree. I don't think there's a ton of news, but there's a few things I want to share. I'm gonna do rapid fire.
Yeah, do it.
Just because knowing what we like and knowing that
I know there's some stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so the first one that I absolutely love, and it's a Metacom. I believe it's going to be a lottery exclusive. In fact, I know it is because I put my name in it. I did not win the last lottery for that cool skeletal Godzilla. I did not win it.
That's a bummer.
But I'm okay if I lose that one and I win this one because I think this one is even cooler. And that, of course, is the Keylax here from Destroy All Monsters. That is just so cool. Look at that. I mean, they have done Sophobia of the aliens, and they are very expensive. But I thought that one was cool. So that was one that I wanted to show. Yeah. I mean, we won't get them, but hey, it'll be nice. The other thing is this guy. Bandai Fashion released these new items. So Studio 696 from Bandai released this awesome Gigan, and I know it's Final Wars Gigan, but still it's cool.
That looks like a heavy metal album.
Yeah.
I did not see any of these.
Yeah, and here's the Hedera one. It's the same Hedera design here, but they have the smog monster eyeball on the front. So I thought that was kind of cool. So there was that, And then hold on, let me get past this one. And then we don't need to talk about the hetero one. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This one, the Taco Kong, with the Kong and the octopus. Yeah, this is gonna exclusive. This right here is this blue King Kong with the giant octopus over his head, and it is an exclusive to, I think is it the Atami Monster Film Festival or something, but it's a real small run. But like this thing is just amazing. I'm like, I want this. What's that?
I said, can we go so we can get that? That's beautiful, dude.
I know. And then there's some more Metacom. Oh, and this one I'm going to leave to you because I don't know if you're a big Pokemon fan. I'm not. I don't know much about it. But when Pikachu is wearing cosplaying as Space Godzilla, you kind of got to at least pay attention to it, right?
Well, listen, here's one of those things that I literally forgot I bought. I bought this. I'm not a big... I'm not a big Pokemon
Best
person.
episode ever. Oh, yeah.
I'm not a huge Pokemon person. I'm aware of them. I've played the game sometimes. There are Pokemon that I like. They're very cute. I probably know more than just like your average person on the street, but I am not a big. I've done some Pokemon tattoos. I love Pokemon Snap for the Nintendo 64. Mm-hmm. When this came out, when this popped up, I saw it and I was like, you know what? This is beautiful. It's cute. Beautiful. And I did see that this is the one coming out, but they've already done a Godzilla. And there's a second one that they did too. And I can't remember who that kaiju was, but there are two of these already out. But I saw this, the price isn't bad on it. I pre-ordered it because I don't care that it doesn't matter that I love Pikachu. I own 0 Pokemon things other than a couple games.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered this.
I'll be honest with you. I know even less than that. I know Pikachu, and was it one of them was like Squirtle or something? But anyway,
yeah, it was a Squirtle.
I almost bought this because it's just so insane that it's dressing like Space Godzilla. I think it's amazing, and it's beautiful. Dude, it's great looking.
There's a long there's a history of Pokemon Godzilla crossover stuff, and one of the things that got me playing any Pokemon in the first place is because a friend of mine was a big Pokemon fan, and there are a few Pokemon that are clearly based. Like there's one that looks like Godzilla, there's one that looks like Gamera, there are a few that are, and I know it's easy to make any big dinosaur with spikes on its back kind of looks like Godzilla, but like you can play the game and just be like, this is kind of like a cute Godzilla game. It's just a bunch of little kaiju or something, but yeah, that thing's beautiful, man. I completely forgot that I ordered that. So thanks.
There is this. I don't know because I'm not the right person to ask, but I know when reading Matt Alt's book, what is it called? Where it talks about all the Japanese pop culture things that kind of conquered the world. Basically, the biggest thing that Japan has done is basically influence pop culture globally and stuff. I forgot the name of his book, but I've read it. It's wonderful. Matt Alt is awesome. Him and his wife in Japan, they do a lot of stuff with yokai and stuff. But anyway, I believe in that book, it talks about the creator of Pokemon when he's doing like the concept pitch or like the first 2 pocket monsters. They were basically, he just drew, I think it was Godzilla and King Kong or Godzilla and somebody else, but like he was a huge Kaiju and Godzilla fan. And so there is in the origins of Pokemon there, I think there are some ties to Godzilla on that. Dude. So it's pretty cool.
Pretty clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But that's it. I mean, like I said, it's less about big news items. Just like some wacky stuff came out that I was like, this is kind of like, it's like they listen to YHS and Monster Island and they know we would like this stuff.
Hey, these guys spend money.
Yeah, I know, right? I need some money.
Dude, yeah, that was good, man. I like that we got this screen share thing happening now. I know that's new, and I know if you're listening to this episode, you don't really, you know what? If you listen to YHS on Monster Island, first of all, thank you. Yes, very much. Thank you.
For sure.
But second of all, maybe start watching it because we do. I know we jump when we talk about toys so much, and when we're doing our pickups, like I'm sure it's fun to listen to us talk, but maybe I think
maybe
I hope so. But you gotta see these toys. You really do, man. Like the those figures that you showed off tonight, Jay. That Mothra. You guys just listen to us talk about Mothra. You have to see it. You have to see that. So it looks like we're going to be doing more screen share stuff. So you got YouTube. Just watch it.
You got it. It's free.
No excuse.
But yeah, so good. Hey, good week for collectible news and other stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of
dude.
stuff for you guys to go out and pre-order, or in many cases with the lottery figures, try to win them.
Dude, I pre-ordered. I also just remembered this. I pre-ordered. You might have been the one to give me the heads up on this actually, because I forgot about it, and I can't even remember who did it, but I pre-ordered one of those sleeping Godzilla figures.
Yeah,
Who puts those out?
It's Metacom, but the ones that we did were the Crunchyroll exclusive.
Crunchyroll ones, yeah.
That's the online store. Yeah,
I pre-ordered one of those, and it's not like a colorway that I'm like super in love with, but I just love that figure. Yeah. They've always been hard to find. Like you can get on eBay and find some of the older ones, but they're a little more expensive. But Crunchyroll's been putting them out, and they're not too bad, but they sell out real quick. And the last couple of ones they've put out, by the time I even see that it exists, is gone. So you gave me a heads up, and I appreciate that. And I did grab one of those.
I forgot about those. I got 2 of them. I know. I just don't really. I pre-ordered 2 of the.
Oh, from the same thing, because there were 3. There were 3, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I ordered 3. I ordered all of them, and then I thought about it the next day, and I went ahead and canceled one of them. I just I wasn't loving it. I can't remember which ones I got, but I got 2 of the 3.
I got the green one because I wanted to get one that just looked more natural. I didn't want to get one of the crazy color. That is a figure that I would buy more of. It's just I love that little pose. Yeah. One other thing that I wanted to bring up before we get on to the rest here is
I hope the Ghostbuster fans are still listening.
I hope so. We're getting there. The title of this episode is going to be "Overthinking It." Is Stay Puft Kaiju? We don't even talk about it till an hour in.
I know, right? We should put a disclaimer on there, like, hey, just fast forward to an hour and 1 minute.
The last thing that I want to say is before we get into that is I was on Instagram and I saw a page posted. I just saw it in my explore page. You just get random stuff, and somebody had posted an image of the Destroy All Monsters Mezco set, and it said it was like an update on the shipping, and it said now shipping spring of 2022,
because it was supposed to be December, right?
Was it?
I think so.
It was supposed to be December of this year,
like as in this month that we're in currently.
Because I thought I could not. It was so long ago that I pre-ordered those. Yeah, that I could not remember. Is Mothra supposed to be soon? Because the Mothra
maybe it's Mothra. Maybe it's Mothra.
Mothra was separate, but that's why I was bringing it up to you, because I could not remember. Whenever I saw that, I was like, "Oh, is this sooner or is this later than they're supposed to be shipping?"
I just pulled up my receipt. I found the Mothra one. The Mothra one ships March to May 2022.
Okay.
And then let me see if I can find the Destroy All Monsters here. I know this is great podcasting here as I try to figure
searching eBay or searching emails.
I know, right? I don't see my Mezco, and I can't remember if I bought it from Mezco directly or not. Here it is. So, okay, Destroy All Monsters, November 2021 to January 2022.
We should have had that shit already.
I know, yeah.
And now
there
it is spring 2022. That's a bummer, because that's 8 figures. And it's already paid. Didn't we already pay for that? Like when that pre-order happened, that wasn't a pay when they come in. That was a pay up front, which that makes it a little better, I guess, because it's like I already paid for it. It'll show up when it shows up, but
it actually we paid for that and the shipping. Like we prepaid the shipping as well. So
I'm excited about those because they look great, but that's a bummer, man. I mean, I love the price points for, it's not like the cheapest thing in the world, but it's not going to break the bank, and it's not X Plus. I can't even remember how much it was, but it's like it is 8 figures. Like I know they're not huge, but it's the 2 set. I feel like it was 100 something per set.
No,
right?
I don't even. I think it was like 80 something.
Was it less than that? Yeah,
maybe
it was.
I shouldn't have closed off of my my receipt there. Yeah. Now you're gonna make me go back and look at it.
I feel like it had to be 200 or
85%. 85%.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
that's not bad.
Yeah, no, 100%. So basically, with shipping and everything, right under $200, you're gonna get the entire set. So both of them.
All right. Well, we're just waiting. So All right, well, let's get on with it. What is a kaiju, Jay?
I don't know. It's somehow it's like we talk about it a lot, but I have no idea what it is. No, I think it's gonna be interesting because kaiju, it's a term that we use so much, and everybody uses and throws it out. But like, I was thinking, like, I don't know if I've ever sat down and said what at what point is something a kaiju and something's not, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where we got to start, is really what we feel a kaiju is and isn't, and what makes it a kaiju and what makes it not. And then we can talk about the big question. I think it's probably the most debated and discussed of all, of all entities of, is it a
It is.
kaiju or not?
Yeah,
Is the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
for sure.
And so I, as a more of a novice in the world of Ghostbusters, or one that, hey, I saw Ghostbusters 2 in the theaters when I was 8. Like, I love, don't get me wrong, I like Ghostbusters,
Right.
but I'm not obviously like you guys. I have some questions for you because I want to understand like how you guys just view Marshmallow Man in general, and then we can determine how it fits into the buckets and that we create and what we think. But like, to me, it's interesting because the word kaiju just simply means strange creature. There's
Right.
no rules around.
That is the most vague. That could be anything.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it doesn't mean big, small, anything. It just is strange creature. And then, as you know, in movies and films and stuff, we've kind of turned it into daikaiju, or great creature, giant creature, big creature, however you want to translate it. But I mean, it was a term that the Japanese used to describe like mythical beasts and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And when Japan itself opened up out of their isolationist period, and whether it was like the mid 18th century or whatever that was, I'm not great on Japanese history, but the crazy thing was the term was mostly used to describe, like, think of creatures like the Loch Ness monster, things that have mythical tie-in or legend or folklore, or things that have like kind of a paleontological bent. So like dinosaurs, and we're considered kind of kaiju to some degree. And
Right.
this is, like I said, all before 1954. And that was kind of what it was used for. And then it kind of got a second life in the 50s when we started talking about film monsters. And really, it's funny, we always refer to as Godzilla as the first kaiju, and the first one that was referred to as a kaiju. But when Beasts of 20,000 Fathoms, great film, by the way, when that was released in Japan, I believe it was released in Japan a little bit later, and I think in 1954, right before Godzilla, that was the first one to use the term kaiju in an actual movie title. So, long-winded way of saying, it's not a definitive, here are the guardrails, what defines
Right.
a kaiju. It means, and depending on what you want it to be or what period of it, it could mean things like a werewolf or a thing like Godzilla. And it's really up to us to interpret.
Yeah.
Do we think of kaiju as a movie genre? Do we think of it as just a monster, and daikaiju are the large ones and stuff like that? So that's kind of my preamble of saying, like, there isn't a right answer. There isn't a wrong answer. And so this is going to be, what does Jacob Walsh, the expert on kaiju and Ghostbusters, the crossover, crossing the streams, really kind of how you define it. So that's kind of what I'm interested to hear.
Okay. So I feel like you don't hear daikaiju that often. Like, I know the dai
we do in our circles,
giant, but
yeah,
I feel like you hear kaiju you hear kaiju, and especially like as far as in American stuff, it's Pacific Rim, which is what made people know that word over here because of they're either Godzilla fans or they've seen Pacific Rim. And when I think of a kaiju, for me, what I think the criteria is just that it's giant. I feel like it's got to be big.
Got to be big. Okay. So
you
do have size requirements on it.
I always feel like there's a size requirement. And I thought for a long time, I thought that was just part of it, and like, it's just, if you just say strange creature, it's like, I know people that I would call a kaiju if that's all we were.
Some of them are in the YHS family, right?
Ryan Dahl.
Sorry, Craig.
I feel like there's got to be more than just strange creature. And I feel like I would never call something like a werewolf a kaiju because that's just a monster.
Yeah.
Kaiju is different. It's like an elevated kaiju. I feel like you always hear that word referred to when they're big.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's like a certain time where it's like, what's the size requirement? I don't think there's a size requirement. I think it's just when it's bigger than
it should be.
I would call King Kong a kaiju. Even like classic King Kong, who's like what he's like 25 feet tall or something.
Yeah.
It's not crazy. You know what I mean? That to me is considered a kaiju because it's an unnaturally large creature. Even though King Kong himself is just a gorilla.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that he is monstrous in size makes him a kaiju.
So I like that. So for Jacob Walsh, it has to be unnaturally large, bigger. It's kind of an ambiguous line, but if it's bigger than it needs to be, then it falls in that requirement.
Yeah.
So what about another thing that we always hear about? You know, kaijus should be big, whether that's right or wrong, but also kaijus should have some kind of preternatural power or something. It can't just be a big animal, right? It can't be, just King Kong. It has to have some, whether it's I guess he might have super strength, but whether it's blowing atomic breath, whether it's, whatever, like, do you think it has to have some sort of power? I mean, by you saying King Kong is one, I'm guessing, no, that's not a prerequisite.
To me, it's not. And I didn't know, is that ever been a thing? Like, I know when you're thinking of like Godzilla movies, they're all like, Anguirus ain't got no weird powers. He's just a giant fucking spiky turtle thing.
He can roll into this giant ball rolling.
And I mean, I know he's not a large version of an actual animal that you would find in nature. So maybe that's what people would think. But I don't feel like there has to be powers there. I think giant creature is kaiju to me. And I know that's probably that might be a looser definition than what some people like. Maybe there are people who are listening that are like, no, it's got to be fucking weird and shoot beams out of its face to be a kaiju. But I don't think so, man. I think any kind of giant thing that you could call if you can call it a monster and it's big, it's a kaiju. Okay.
So what about this? So the other thing that you read a lot of stuff on, like people trying to put definition around a term that is, you can't define. They say that to make it a kaiju, specifically in the kaiju genre of film, it has to represent something. It has to be metaphorical. Obviously, Godzilla is the most classic example, but we have other kaiju that do represent things, right? Like whether it's environmental awareness, global warming, Yongari. Sorry to bring up Yongari again. I'm so sorry. But that type of stuff. Like, do you feel that it needs to have that sort of? It needs to be a metaphor for something in the real world.
So I don't, but I feel like it almost always does, even if it doesn't mean to. You know what I mean? Because there's like, there's just something, I don't even know how to put it in words, but a giant creature, there's always some sort of cause or something. Like, it's almost impossible for there not to be something behind it. So I don't think that's 100% needed, but it's like when you sit here and you think about any kaiju film, it's hard to find one that you can't pull a meaning out of, whether it was intended or not. So I can understand that people think that it's required.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is.
Do you think that it has to have been created by, helped along by man or some other event, ecological event or whatever, to grow to that size and be that big? Does it have to have nuclear radiation? Does it have to be, have some sort of, whatever it might have been? Does the kaiju, can it just be a natural biological life form that just happens to be that big? End of story.
Okay. So I think it can be natural. I think you can call a naturally thing, but only if it's I have to keep going back to King Kong here because, I guess it depends on what King Kong you're watching or whatever, but, say there's only one Kong,
Mhm.
you got one, we're not talking about like Kong Skull Island where there's a whole family of
Yeah.
fucking Kongs or King Kong lives or anything, but Kong is, you know, somehow just giant. Even
Yeah.
like we'll say Mighty Joe Young because that's a little different. He's
Yeah.
just a giant fucking gorilla
Yeah.
that just like he's an anomaly. It's like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, for some reason,
Yeah.
this gorilla is 20 feet tall.
Yeah.
Not because of an accident, not because of nuclear waste or whatever. It just happened.
Yeah. Just a
That's
mutant.
still a kaiju because it's a one of a kind
One. Okay.
giant creature. If it was if you come across a whole species
Yeah.
that was big, no, that's not a kaiju,
I
right?
like that.
Because that's
interesting.
naturally how big they are.
Yeah. That's just
Right?
what they are.
So it's like it's almost as if it's like anytime you're watching a Godzilla film, there's always like one of them. There's
Yeah.
not a ton of like,
No.
and I know it gets a little tricky with Godzilla because there's Minya or Baby
Yeah.
Godzilla, and it's like, okay, well, if there's a bunch of Godzillas, is that not a kaiju because they're naturally just big? But it is because he's like out of time. He has power. It's almost like you are allowed to kind of pick and choose what some of the classifications are for a kaiju depending on what they are.
And if you hit a certain amount of them, it counts. Yeah.
Right. So it's like I wouldn't if you traveled to a certain part of the world and all of a sudden you found out like, hey, in this part of this country, there are King Kong sized gorillas that just live there. That's not kaiju because there's a bunch of it's natural in that area.
Gotcha.
But if you just get one, that's a kaiju.
Yeah, and it goes back to your first point, unnaturally large. It's not natural.
Right.
So what about this? What about aliens? Can an alien monster, an alien beast, an alien whatever that's a certain size, is that a kaiju? I mean, for instance, is Orga a kaiju or is it just an alien or can they live together? Can you be an alien kaiju?
I think you can because it's like say on maybe it's a kaiju to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe on some planet out there's an entire planet of King Ghidorahs.
Yeah.
And they're the natural creature on that planet. I guess you wouldn't consider that a kaiju. But if one of them comes to Earth and it's attacking, that's a kaiju, right? Like I feel like it's such a loose term that it's really easy.
No, yeah.
I feel like, you know what? Lake Placid, that crocodile, that's a kaiju. You know what I mean? Like I think you can call an alien a kaiju.
If it's big.
If it's big, yeah.
So like an alien race. So think of like, from Ultraman, Baltan before he grows big and stuff like that, because it's a race of billions of them. They're human size. That would be just an alien, a Saiyan.
It's an alien creature. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like you think about this is a bad example, and I feel bad that I'm even going to say this because the movie was fucking trash. But Independence Day. Did you see the second one?
I did not see the second one.
So in the second, so those are just aliens, right? They're like kind of human-sized aliens.
Yeah.
But in the second one, there's a queen,
and
the queen is Godzilla size. It makes no sense, but she shows up out of nowhere, and she's fucking. It's a kaiju. I'm like, that's a kaiju. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it could be an alien kaiju. Okay, so that's interesting. I would say I'm pretty much aligned with you. I do, but it's funny. The only thing that we differentiate ourselves on, and I do refer to, I don't want to say human-sized monsters because I know that's kaijin, and that's like, think of like Matango and things like that. Like to me, like I don't view those as kaiju. Those are like whatever. But there's that kind of interim thing. Like I do think of like a werewolf, even though I know it's kind of human-sized, but they can be bigger and stuff too. But like some of that stuff I do view almost as like kaiju, and I do. At some point, there's a kaiju and a daikaiju line for me.
Right. Okay.
And which I know but other than that, everything else, I agree with you. I think aliens can be kaiju. I love the fact that if it is something that's naturally occurring, like then even if it's big or if it's a monster, whatever, but if it's naturally occurring, it's probably not a kaiju. Like I get that. But kind of the one-offs or the small sample size of monsters, I tend to give them a little bit more leeway. But I also understand when most people say kaiju, they're referring to big monsters. And
Right.
that's fine. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answers here. So let's take all of that.
Mhm.
Let's factor in the other big element, which I think we're going to talk about here in the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man argument, is you have kaiju, but in Japanese culture, you also have yokai, which literally translates to like kind of like, think of them as spirits or ghosts, right?
Ghosts, yeah.
But not spooky necessarily, but more like creaturey. They can be inanimate objects. I think of Kappa, from Death Kappa.
Yeah, Kappa.
Kappas.
There's that like umbrella.
Yeah.
Yokai that like looks like an umbrella. Yeah.
Oh, there's tons of them, and then of course, then you have kami, which literally translate to like gods, like little g gods, right? And so there's that's they have a little bit more of a a deity status than like yokai, which would be more like spirits and stuff. So you have those as well, and then you have like things like Majin and stuff, which are like demon spirits and whatever. But so I'll stick a pin in that. We'll talk about that as we go. So there's kaiju. Now I need to, as the Ghostbusters novice, I need to ask you a few questions about Marshmallow Man. Okay. So I want how you define them and what you view, because I think Marshmallow Man is so unique in the fact that there's a connection with Gozer the Gozerian, right? Like, what is, in just English words, in this English terms, like, what do you view Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? Is it an extension of Gozer? Is it just Gozer, being, like I said, extension of it, I guess? Or is it a separate entity, a separate life form, a separate thing than Gozer the Gozerian? Like that, I think that's key in determining what I feel Marshmallow Man is, but like maybe even can help us kind of delineate between the two. So how do you view Stay Puft as it relates to Gozer?
So it's a little ambiguous, kind of.
Yeah.
Because what's weird and what's something that people don't really think about a lot is that the movie's called Ghostbusters, and Gozer's not a ghost.
Yeah.
Your main villain of two of the three Ghostbusters
say it too now
is not a ghost at all. Like, Gozer is an ancient god who's coming back, has ghost-like properties, maybe has a menagerie of ghosts and demons, bodyguards and stuff like that, but Gozer's not a ghost. So when Gozer says to Ray, or says to the Ghostbusters, choose the form of the Destructor, Gozer's not even a physical form at that point. And they even say, like, when Gozer shows up, they're like, "Oh, I thought Gozer was a man." And it's whatever it wants to be. It's not. There's no limitations of a physical form. It chooses to look like it wants to look.
Yeah.
So there's a scene earlier in the film where Louis Tully, as the Keymaster, is explaining that Gozer appeared in a pre-chosen form, which is what, and he even says it was, there are other words, they're just made up nonsense words because they're from other dimensions or worlds or whatever. But the implication is that you are choosing the form that Gozer is appearing in to destroy the world.
Gotcha.
And Ray Stantz thinks of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It is said by Ray Stantz in both films, multiple times, even in the video game as well. I don't know, the video games are not canon, but that the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is a manifestation of Gozer. It's Gozer, just in a different form. That's Gozer can. They call it Gozer's destructor form. Yeah. Whenever Gozer, so that's Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is Gozer.
Yep.
So technically, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is not a ghost.
Yep.
It's just it's an ancient god in the form of whatever you chose to destroy you in.
Yep. So I've one follow up to that. So and because I love where this is going. So is Gozer, would you classify it as a god, or is it really just an alien, an interdimensional being that tricked ancient Sumerians into thinking it was a god. Now, we can argue whether God is a real thing or not, but like, how would you define, in your words, would you say that it's more accurate to say that Gozer is an alien that's pulling one over on some sad Sumerians, or is it really a god, or is there no real delineation? I mean, is it like it?
I think maybe that's it. I think maybe there's no way of knowing what, I feel like this episode.
What is a god?
Dude, what is a god? Dude, this episode of our podcast is a companion piece. I don't know if this website still exists, but there used to be a website called overthinkingit.com. and it was a great fun website where they wrote really well-made articles.
Yeah.
A lot of times about things that happen in movies that's like, well, hold on, if you think about it, this, and I implore you and anybody who's listening to search out and see if this website still exists, because they did a whole week on Ghostbusters one time, because it was like around one of the anniversaries, and they did a whole article about how in the universe of Ghostbusters, in the universe that movie takes place, the fact that Gozer exists proves that there is no Christian God.
I love it. Yeah.
Because if Gozer is a god, like they all say it is, then according to Christian beliefs, there are no other so that doesn't exist. Like they were like, nobody talks about it, but in the world of Ghostbusters, and there's all kinds of not to get off topic of Stay Puft here, but there are all kinds of things that happen in Ghostbusters that are kind of like there's a whole scene where the four Ghostbusters are in the room with the clergy member or whatever who's in there with the mayor, and they're all like, Ray says, I don't believe in God at one point. Like they're all like, the whole movie is kind of like atheistic, but sorry. Anyway, that conversation about Gozer is sort of a companion piece that you almost need to, it's further reading to understand what Gozer is and what the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is. This is the nerdiest conversation I've ever had in my entire life.
Thank you.
If Gozer says she's a god and the Ghostbusters are doing all that, like they say it's a god, then you have to take that word for it. It's a god.
Cool. And so I'm glad you said that. That's good. That makes the last part easier. So all of this, we tie it back together, and I ask you this. This is this is my way of leading you to having a final answer on Stay Puft. Then I have a few other ones I want to ask. But if Gozer is a god, so in Japanese she would be, or it would be a kami, right? It would be a kami, not a communist, but a kami. And the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is the manifestation of a kami. Is it then, by definition, is it just a kami? And I say just a kami, it's a god. Is the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man just a god or is it a kaiju, or is it a god in kaiju clothing, right, if you will? Or is it safe to say that the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is a kami that has taken the form of a kaiju? That how would you say, would it be kaiju first or kami first?
I think it's kami first, right? Because Gozer is a god.
That's what I would
right?
say.
I would say, I would maybe say that Gozer is a kami.
Of course.
But Gozer's destructor form is always a kaiju. Because it's, no matter what, we've only seen it as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but the implication is that it's always large. Yeah. It's always giant. No matter what you think of, it's a giant thing. So I would say, my definitive answer is that Gozer is a kami, normally, but Gozer's destructor form, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, is indeed a kaiju.
And I know I said that there's no right or wrong answer, but I believe that's the right answer.
It is the right answer.
I think that, like many things in life, it's not as simple as yes or no. It is that form is, but underlying it, like I said, it is a god. Yeah. It is a kami. And like I said, there's probably even more sub-genres of kami that maybe align with it more, obviously. Sure. I know, lost in translation, but yeah, so I love it. I'm aligned with you. I think we solved it.
We did it. Yeah, I think I think a lot of people probably started off this episode, people who are listening here probably started off like, is Stay Puft a kaiju? How can you do an episode about that? it's big, it's a monster, yes. And they don't realize that there's just like, is it a monster? Can a monster be a ghost? Is it even a ghost? Is it a guy? It's just, there's a lot of factors that go into what even Stay Puft is, you know? And it's like, and I'm sure to some people it's maybe a little confusing as to what some people probably watch Ghostbusters and don't realize that Stay Puft is Gozer, right? They just think that Gozer said, let me bring this into existence. You know, it's like, it's sort of part, it can't exist without the other, you know. And I know there are questions, not going too much into what happens in Ghostbusters Afterlife, even though the spoiler ban has been lifted.
Spoilers.
There are many puffs in that film, and some people have been like, well, why does it make sense that the Stay Puft was showed up? Nobody thought that into existence, and Gozer shows up, the Terror Dogs are back, and I've heard a lot of people say like, well, you know what, Gozer, this is the next time. Last time Gozer was here, it was a giant Stay Puft. So now that it showed back up, it's sort of like an echo. It's what it remembers. It's what it remembers of our plane of existence. And it just sort of, you know, maybe it didn't even mean to. That's just what it knows. And that's what was in that's a stupid, like, the fact that you got to even like go there is kind of dumb. It's just it's a Ghostbusters movie. Of course you want to see Stay Puft somehow, but I think there's reasons for all of it to exist. And dude, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is a kaiju, and that's why those fucking vinyl Stay Puffs behind you from Secret Base are, it's like it all hit me at one time that it's like, oh, these are like Sofubi of Stay Puft, and it makes sense because that, and then it makes me even like it, you know, when I was kind of doing a little bit of prep for this talk, I was thinking about it. Like, you know, Ghostbusters came out in 84. I was born in 85. I grew up watching this and loving it. And Stay Puft was always my favorite. When I watched the cartoon, the toys, the giant thing was always my favorite thing. And it's like, there's a connection with Godzilla and what I love, and it's part of why I love Godzilla is because it's this giant, scary, unnatural thing. The thought of a giant monster has always been intriguing and interesting and fun to me, no matter what it is. So it's like, even though Ghostbusters as a film has nothing to do with Godzilla as a film, except for the fact that the billboard for Ghostbusters is in Godzilla 85. It's connected by the fact that there's a giant fucking monster roaming around. Even though it's silly and goofy in Ghostbusters, like there's, you know, I distinctly remember when I was a kid we owned a VHS copy of Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Now, I was like, I think 6 when that movie came out. And you know what? It's not a good movie, right? But have you seen that?
I have, yes.
The movie sucks, but I remember when I was a kid, I would put it on and fast forward to the end when the baby is kaiju sized, fucking tearing up the town. Because that's what I just loved that. I was like, I don't care what the big thing is. The fact that it's big and monstrous and it's ripping up like miniature sets or whatever, it's like that's what interested me. And I never really thought about it before. Like, was my love for Stay Puft what made me love Godzilla so much, or was my love for Godzilla what maybe, I don't know what came first, because
chicken and egg
remember
there,
they were both there since you know what I mean? Like the both entities have always been in my life, so I don't know what came first, but it makes me wonder if like one, you know, inferred the other. So
that's crazy. Yeah. So it's funny. I love it. I love this conversation. It was really cool. And hey, they didn't believe we could talk like 20 or 30 minutes about this. They were wrong. So I think I had a couple I wanted to throw out just to kind of tie it up together, because Stay Puft is the big one. And the closest that I liken it to would be like, you know, when we watch Space Amoeba, like Yog, the alien, even though it's an alien, not a god, but it would infect these animals and grow them up and make them large. And they were like, it was an alien in a kaiju body, right? It made it into a kaiju or whatever. But so I have a few more. So how about this?
Okay.
Would you consider the monster from The Host a kaiju?
I would, because
Oh.
I know he's not. I would, and I've always called it. It's not huge. It's not what you would normally think of kaiju sized, but it's big, and it's not human size. It's kind of in the in between. He's not. But the fact that he's very monstrous and it's very much its own, it is a product of an unnatural disaster. It is a mutation. It is eating people and scary looking and unlike any other creature. So it ticks all of those other boxes. It might not be stories and stories tall.
Yeah.
But it is big enough to be, I think, considered a kaiju.
What about, and it's funny, the first one I had on here was Mighty Joe Young. We already talked about that. And I had like all the Universal monsters, and we already talked about that.
Okay.
And then so I thought about Death Kappa, obviously a yokai. But when he grows at the very end, when he grows giant and large and he eats his giant cucumbers, is he a kaiju-sized yokai, or is he a kaiju at that point?
Boy, I think you would. I think he gets a hyphen.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's a good answer.
A hyphen, because you don't stop being a yokai. Like, he's a yokai.
Yeah.
The fact that he's huge, it just makes him his own special.
Yeah, it's his
yokai
power.
Kaiju. Yeah.
What about the Sarlacc pit?
Oh, you know what? I would say no on the Sarlacc pit, and the reason I would say no is because all Sarlacc pits are that big.
Yeah, go back.
Right?
Yeah,
it's not a one-off.
Yeah.
Even though that's all you see, that is a creature that exists in that universe, and there's probably plenty of them. So
and I love the like all of the depictions and everything from the original, like the official Lucas stuff, like what it looks like under the sand. It's fascinating. But anyway, how about the Blob?
Oh, I've never thought about the Blob before as far as being a kaiju, but I think it would be a no at first.
Yeah.
But once it's big enough that it can eat a fucking entire theater, then it's become a kaiju, right? Like, it is an alien. It's an alien first.
Yeah.
But I think once it's huge, you can consider the Blob a kaiju.
What about the worm thingy creatures from Tremors?
Yeah. Wait. I don't know. Because there's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Right? It's a monster, but if you're that's a tricky one, because it is a giant monster. I think you could call it a kaiju, but if you go by the other stipulations that I put forth, then I think it would maybe have to be a no, because if you're talking about this is what we'll do.
Yeah.
Tremors 1. Yeah. Kaiju. Even though there's a few of them.
Yeah.
It's an unnatural monster in the middle. You know what I mean? It's not.
There's not like
native to the United States. But if you go by Tremors 2, they try to give you a little more backstory, and they try to give you an origin, and they say that they are a Precambrian life form that's just lived this whole time. So in that case, it would make it closer. That would almost be like calling a dinosaur a kaiju.
Yep.
Tremor, the graboids, at one time, they just lived.
Yeah.
They lived on Earth. That's a natural creature. Yeah. These just were able to live long enough to eat us. So I think if you're going by Tremors 2, I think you could get away with calling it a kaiju, but also it's like, oh, it's just something that lived here, and I don't think you can call a dinosaur a kaiju.
Well, that was my last one.
Because that's an animal. That's an animal. A dinosaur is, if you got one dinosaur that lived and is now in our times, you can call him a kaiju. But you can't call the dinosaurs kaiju, because they're just animals living on Earth, which is what actually they did. You know what I mean? Like, so you can't call that. I feel like my explanations are a little all over the place and different for each creature, but I think a dinosaur is a no.
Well, so that was my last one, was any rampaging dinosaur, and I put in like the Lost World, Lost as in like Conan Doyle's Lost World, not Jurassic Park Lost World, like, because it's it's one that's survived, and if it's by itself or whatever, like, kind of like the Loch Ness monster kaiju. That was a tricky one for me. I don't know.
That's a tricky one. Like I wouldn't get mad at somebody for saying that those are kaiju, but I think if you got technical with it, you'd maybe call the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park kaiju because they're genetically engineered and they're not actually dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That's tricky, man. There's some specifics that you're getting into with dinosaurs.
You know what though? We can talk about that in a later episode. We can have other ones. We solved the big mystery though. We solved what the title of the episode will be, and we know now what Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is, and that's all that matters. That's why they're listening to us.
Yeah. Overthinking it returns. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is a kaiju.
Hey, our whole podcast, we overthink everything about Godzilla, but you know what? We know that we do, and we love it, and we love we love enough that stuff that's stupid and zany that I think hopefully we get a pass, that we don't only, we don't try to dissect everything.
Right. Some stuff it's okay.
Yeah, this one is okay.
This is okay, and that was fun. I like doing the what is a kaiju. I thought you were going to hit me with the shark from Jaws.
I did not even think about that. I didn't, I had a feeling that if we did, it would go another hour because I know how much you love Jaws, and that could, I
could tell you right off the bat, shark from Jaws, no.
Okay, it's just a big shark.
Shark from Jaws, no, because it's only
Sharknado.
We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going for a second. Shark from Jaws is 25 feet long. There are 20-foot great whites that have been, so it's only 5 feet. That's not a monstrous size difference. Shark from Jaws 3 is 35 feet long, which is unheard of. Maybe that one's a kaiju. I don't know.
Is Anaconda a kaiju from Anaconda?
Maybe.
But hey, you know what? Like I said, we know about Stay Puft, and that's what pays the bills, man.
Yeah. Dude, that we did it. Listen, I want to thank everybody for listening. Thanks for listening to us. Just this was a very long episode about maybe the nerdiest, geekiest thing I've ever had. And this has maybe been the most fun episode to do so far. So this was fun, man. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking with us. Please go check out YHS interview with Logan Kim. Jason, we also did an episode with Jason Reitman. We have more Ghostbusters Afterlife crew interviews on the way, so check all that stuff out. Jay, thanks for doing Toy Anxiety while I've been gone.
Hey, no worries. It's been super fun. But real quick, I have to say, because I haven't heard obviously the Logan Kim interview yet, but when we recorded this, it hasn't dropped yet. But the Jason Reitman interview is phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that like it was. Either when you have a lot of these directors and people involved with the movies, you either have like people that know just very little about it because they're, media personalities, they're, from your local paper, local TV station, or they're national, whatever. And then you have like super duper fans, like you guys are super duper fans, but like that they just, it's too tactical and stuff. You guys found that like sweet spot, that pocket in the middle. So that was awesome as somebody like me that knows about Ghostbusters and has some questions that are more than what was it like to take over Ghostbusters from your dad type stuff.
Right.
And you guys did dig deeper than that, but it wasn't like off-putting. And the other thing that was so crazy in that interview is just like, it felt like you guys and Jason Reitman have been buddies for decades. Like it really was. I mean, you could tell like how like at ease he was, and it was just a conversation. It was really, really well done. Kudos to you, Craig and Abby, for that. That was awesome because it's not just getting the access to somebody like Jason Reitman, but it's delivering and producing that content for us fans in a way that it's more, in our voices than maybe, the reporter from, Entertainment Tonight or whatever it might be. So it was awesome, man. That was really, really good.
I appreciate it. It was a lot of work to get all this stuff. Like, it's been a long, we've been doing YHS for like 6 years, man. And that all kind of felt like what we've been working towards. That whole weekend was a little crazy. So I appreciate that, man. Hopefully we're going to get more of that kind of stuff soon. And I think Ghostbusters is going to be, we said it earlier, I think it's going to be back for a while.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're going to get a lot more of that kind of stuff.
I agree. And if you need more help filling in on Toy Anxiety, I was pumped to be able to do that twice with with Ryan Dole in the bootleg
Mhm.
edition. Of course, also with the help from Geek Dad Life, or as I call him, Nerd Father Existence. Jay Glatfelter there. He's awesome. And then the first episode, we also had talk about toy legend. I mean, freaking Jake Stevens from Fort
Yeah.
Zuckus. And then we even did one up that with getting Kat Hansen from the Bad
Yeah,
Bitches
dude.
on the next one. So like
Yep.
we got all these amazing people. It was super fun. And you know, anytime you need help, we'll be there for you. But it was
Appreciate
really cool holding down the fort for the big three there. So that was cool. And of course, go check out Toy Anxiety every Tuesday on YouTube, 9:30, 8:30 Central, with Craig and Ryan and Jake and Abby. And it is just, you know, I always say it every week, and I mean it, just shifting the paradigm of toy collecting as we know it. And it's so awesome. And then, of course, I've heard they teased it this week that the new version of the Bad Bitches is coming out, maybe on a new platform. It's going to be something new for YHS. And I'm super pumped about that because Kat and Abby and Ryan, just like three peas in a pod, such great chemistry there. And then, of course, you guys are just launching and releasing so much content on YHS, and you got your toy line with Tony Taylor Toys and Crypt Creepers. You got, you know, everything you're doing on Patreon with the watch-alongs and the Craig talking in his car every week and all that other good stuff. And your readings of Stephen King and everything. And then, of course, group therapy, which is the epicenter, the hub, the genesis of all that is great about YHS. So go join group therapy on Facebook. It's amazing. And if you have time after all that, check us out at YHS in Monster Island. Leave a nice review.
Yes,
give us some feedback. Give us a like. And, you know, we're trying to, so, you know, hey, there's so much in the kaiju world from a podcasting standpoint, from a YouTube standpoint, and it feels so fragmented. And that's not a bad thing. Most of it is really good content. I don't want it to come across as anything but that. And we know that you have a lot of options, and we just want to be one of those options. And hopefully you enjoy what we're doing, and we're doing something a wee bit different than everybody else out there. And hopefully you like it. And you know, we're going to be doing this for a while. So we're going to keep rocking and rolling, man.
Dude, I can't. There's nothing else I can say better than that. I appreciate it, Jay. Thanks for listening, everybody. And